Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so very much for joining me. Today we're going to be taking a look at a rather special Olight. Now, I think in general, most all Olights are fantastic. I don't think I've ever had one that I didn't fall in love with. Well, this is the first one that I actually had to go chasing because these released about a year ago from the time that I got this, and they were impossible to procure. Now, this is a very special version of the Warrior 3S in titanium instead of the aluminum variant. And this particular colorway is the reason why I wanted it, but this particular colorway was also the reason why I couldn't get it. Now, the reason I wanted this was to match my platypus. And as you're going to see as we start doing some close-ups here, it does it very, very well. And since I had this custom made just for me, and I picked every particular color and every spot those colors were in, I figured I'm never going to find any other EDC items that are going to match it until I saw a picture of this. And luckily, I was able to get this from another member in an Olight trade group, and everything just worked out perfectly. And when I had looked on eBay, people were taking this light that was under $100 or so when it was being sold, or right around 100. I'll put it up here on the screen because I know I'm wrong. And they were selling these for over $300 on eBay. And I went, you know what? I really like this light, but $300 gets me something a lot more impressive, that's a lot more collectible, that it's going to hold its value probably a lot better. So I just kind of hung my head and went, I don't think I'm ever going to get this. And I went over to the groups on Facebook and I put out an in search of post, and immediately somebody jumped on it. And I'll be honest with you, it was a little bit scary. I was thinking, oh, am I going to get scammed here? Because this is not my normal environment, the environment that I'm running around in the knife community. You kind of know what to look for, more or less, and I just wasn't sure. And I was very pleasantly surprised when this arrived, because the seller offered it to me. I didn't have to haggle or anything. He offered it to me for just a few dollars more. I mean, just like literally less than $20 more than they originally sold for at their debut price. So, of course, I was thinking there's no way this is legitimate. The guy was awesome. He had great communication, fast shipping, got it out there to me, and, well, now I've got it. It's honestly an even better light than I thought it was going to be. Because really, I wanted a really cool companion for this that had a decent amount of power. And this thing is ridiculously powerful. And it's got a lot of tech built into this one light that makes it, in my opinion, one of the best lights that Olight has ever made. And I'm pretty excited about it, in case you can't tell. So we're going to flip things around. We're going to get to the photography. We're going to get to the tabletop review and see what you guys think of it.
Changing cloud blocking the pale moonlight. I reach for my torch, my pocket light. Flick it on, ready to wield its power shining bright. As a collector I know I need my collection to grow. More and more lights, it's an obsession. Gotta have more for possession. Some for looks, some for that incredible glow. High performance, all of the lumens. Give me the power of candela to solve the darkness dilemma and make the darkness run away. I go out of my way, finding lights every day. Always a hopping online, finding one to make mine. Watching my money drain away. All the niche emitters and sounds, some for beginners. From warm blue to intense black and white. How many dominate the night. I go out of my way, finding lights every day.
I have owned this light for several months and I've been using it for several months, and I just haven't gotten around with my upload schedule to sit down and do the review on this. And quite by coincidence, the day that I'm recording this, and you'll see why this is irrelevant here in a minute, is actually the 40th anniversary of the debut of Miami Vice. The very first show aired on September 16th in 1984. So obviously that's going to tie in with the color theme that I have going on here and the color theme of the Olight Warrior 3S Titanium in the Fire Edition. Now, this was a light that I chased for a short amount of time because once I saw it, I knew that I absolutely had to have it. Let me bring a little bit more light into here. There we go, because we are definitely going to want a good light on this subject. Now, let's go ahead and get this out of the box. I have repackaged it just so that you can see how they originally come. As always, Olight's packaging is fantastic. Inside of this little box here is the magnetic charging cable. So it's USB, in case you haven't had an Olight before, USB on one side and the magnetic charging cable on the other that just simply sticks itself to the tail cap. And then you get this holster, and inside is this fantastic looking all titanium light. That shit's gone. Now, the last Olight that I had the chance to bring out to you for review, as you can see, is tremendously smaller than this big bad boy here. And I am still very much enjoying this little Baton 4. This is a great, powerful little light. So it should be no surprise to anybody that I am an Olight fan. I think that they make fantastic and innovative lights. I think they have a great quality product. But basically here what you have is a flashy looking exotic upgrade to the Warrior 3S that was originally made in aluminum. This is an 1850 lumen light powered by a 21700 battery inside. It's a 5000 milliamp hour battery. And here they've made this special edition in titanium that was an offshoot from the standard aluminum that they did at the end of 2022, early 2023. Now, in case you don't know, Olight came up from near obscurity, building a reputation and a hugely loyal fan base of collectors over the last decade or so. And I believe they've certainly earned it. They definitely had their growing pains early on. And they had released, unfortunately, some really terrible product for a little bit of time. The good thing is, over the years, they listened to their customers, they corrected their mistakes, and they have come out with consistently great product for the last few years. I have never had an Olight that ever let me down. Now, let's take a quick look at the light. And story time while I'm doing that. The reason why I had to have this light is because of the color scheme. Now, there were a few different versions of this light in this series. There is like an Earth, Wind, and Fire series or something like that. And the Fire is this more kind of rainbow colored look. And typically, I'm not generally pulled toward rainbow colored things, but I had custom designed my platypus with a Miami Vice theme, which is what you see on my custom made holster, which is Collins Avenue, lit up in neon in the 80s. And I wanted to have this 80s themed Miami Vice kind of look. in my Carry Platypus. So once it was nearing its completion, because Stealth Arms is pretty cool about how they do things, they email you through your steps. Okay, your frame and slide have been machined. Okay, now it's going under assembly. Now it's going into paint, that kind of thing. As we were nearing the end, I started my search for this light. And unfortunately, oh man, people were just taking advantage of people left and right who wanted one of these. And I'm just not one of those people. I don't mind paying a premium for something, but I won't overpay far beyond what the actual value is. I just refuse to do it. So, taking a quick look at this, one of the things that I appreciate about the Warrior 3S is the fact that you get to choose the orientation in which it's carried by simply popping off the detachable pocket clip and orienting it toward the head or toward the tail. Now, I prefer to carry all my lights bezel down or light source down. It's just something I've always done. I don't know that I really have a specific reason for it, but I kind of feel like it's protecting the lens a little bit, and it kind of brings it up into my hand in, I guess, a more natural way. I don't know, but I do prefer to do it that way. I love how grippy the body is. All the machining that's been done on here is really, really cool. And this is actually pretty sharp and bitey. So you've got a nice firm grip on this thing. You're probably not ever going to drop it when you're using it. And that's important when you've got a fairly expensive light. Now, you've got two switches on this light. A tail switch that's metal. And I should demonstrate to you how that charging cable works if you've never had an Olight. It just drops on there and begins automatically charging as long as the USB end is plugged in to a power source. You're all good. And it's still going to be your tail switch. Then you have an E switch on the side. These are two independent switches that do two different things. And we'll get into the UI in just a couple of minutes. I'm definitely going to spend some time on that so that you understand how it operates and see just how easy it is. That's another reason why I like the 3S. Whether you just get a black aluminum, a blue aluminum, something crazy in titanium like this, they all operate the same, and they're very, very simple to use. Basically, the tail cap is to give you immediate access to your medium mode and to your turbo mode. Oh, proximity sensor, we'll discuss that in a minute too. So just a half press for medium and a full press for turbo. And again, I'll go over the full UI in just a couple of minutes. One thing that I like about the side switch, let's get it turned around here so we can actually see what I'm talking about here, is you have these nice LED indicators. So, on one side you have the battery indication, and on the other side you have the power output indication. Low, medium, high, all built in there. And turbo, see I have the turbo depressed, so everything is lit up. Now I've got a fully, come on, turn off. I have a fully charged battery on this because I want to do some nighttime stuff and have some fun with this on video, so yeah. I want to say that I remember these selling for about $130 when Olight brought them out. And I believe I'm fairly close on that. But when I decided that I had to have one, everyone was selling them for $300 and up. And as I sat down here to do this video, I did a quick check on eBay. I see them between $300 and $500, and that's absolutely insane. This is a good light. This is not a $300 light by any stretch. Certainly not a $500 light. But people know that when Olight does something that's a very, very limited run and it sells out, that they can make a few extra bucks selling them down the road. And that's kind of shitty. I really don't like that. Can't stand when people do that. If they're buying it just to flip it like that, they're just taking advantage of people, and that kind of sucks, man. That's not cool. But that's the nature of capitalism. What are we going to do about it? So I'll tell you this, get to know people in the Olight Facebook groups, because you may be able to further your collection and get things that you really, really want without being taken advantage as often. Sure, there are still people in those groups that are dicks that are going to try and make a big chunk of change off of you. Listen, man, if you're going to make a small premium off of my ignorance, I didn't buy it when I should have, sure, I'll pay that dumbass fee, you know. Charge a $25 dumbass fee. I'm totally okay with that. Not paying double. Just not like right now, I'm chasing a watch, which funny enough, as I'm doing this, I have my Miami themed colorway of my Spinnaker Fleece GMT automatic. I love this watch, and there's another Spinnaker that I want very, very, very badly. But that was extremely limited. They sold out within like an hour or two when they first released them. And everybody is selling them for 3 times what they sold for. And I'm not doing it. The watch is fantastic and easily worth what they sold for. Not worth 3 times that, however. I just won't be taken advantage of. And you shouldn't either. Now, all those side discussions out of the way, what's powering this beast? Let's zoom in here real quick. Behind that TIR lens is going to be an SFT70 LED with a very cool white tint that's probably around 6,500K. It's easily 6,000. I look at it as being probably a bit higher because it is really, really, really cool white. I generally tend to go for something that's a little bit warmer. But on this light, when I get into anything that's super powerful, and I do consider 1850 lumens a pretty powerful light, I do enjoy having it a little bit cooler white because it appears brighter to my eye, and it's just a little bit more wow factor. So I'm totally okay with this not being a warm light here. On my smaller lights that I'm not worried about them being major blasters, I do like them warmer. And I tend to use those more as an EDC than something this large. Now, because of how powerful this is, Olight has incorporated their proximity sensor. That little black concave right there is the sensor. So if this were to be fired in your pocket or just too close to something, it automatically kicks down. Right now I have it depressed to turbo, 1850 lumens. But it kicks it down when something gets too close to it, so it doesn't melt it, set it on fire, burn it, whatever. Very, very smart, although it's kind of a pain in the butt to use. Like when I was trying to demo the light earlier in the video, and it just kept automatically dimming, that was kind of a pain in the butt. However, it's a nice safety feature that I really do appreciate. Later on, I'm going to show you how to override that feature. Even though it's just temporary, you can override that until the next time you go to use the light. Now, speaking of that, let's get into the UI. I'm going to get my matchy Miami Vice-y colored toys out of the way here. And we're just going to kind of make room on the screen for the graphics and all that. Okay, user interface from off. If you want to use your side switch, press and hold is moonlight, which is 1 lumen. Okay, let's turn that back off. If you want to use the tail switch from off, half press is medium, full press is turbo. So 1 step, 2 step, that's it. And when you let go of it, it turns the light right back off. Now, if you're in EDC mode, you're doing it this way and you want to use the side switch for regular operation besides the moonlight, a single click will turn it on. on memory mode to the last mode that you used. Holding it down steps through your different modes. Oh, proximity sensor again. Sorry about that. It's going to do it again to me. Okay, I'm just going to lay it like this. You can still see when I'm going from low, medium to high. So press and hold allows you to step through all of the various modes. Double clicking the side switch from off takes you immediately to turbo. That's another nice thing. That's something that you're probably used to in most of all of your flashlights. So now you have that flexibility. You could choose when you need to blast out light, you could double click from here, or you could just simply full press from the tail switch. And from off, if you triple click, you get your strobe mode. Hopefully I remember to put the strobe warning on there. I really hate when I forget. Okay, now once the light is on, if you fully press the tail switch, it turns everything off. From on, if you half press the tail switch, it turns everything off. From on, single click of the side switch turns everything off. And from on, double click takes you to turbo. So double click on your E switch will always take you to turbo, whether the light is on or off. Now you also have a lockout mode, which is super important for a light that's this powerful. Even though, yes, you have the proximity sensor, medium is still 200 lumens, and over a long enough period of time, it could burn your pocket. It will definitely drain your battery, which is also something that you don't want to happen. So if you want to go into lockout mode, all you do, okay, light is off. We press and hold past moonlight. Moonlight will come on, then it will turn off. Now you're in moonlight, you're in lockout mode. It will not do anything no matter what you do. To unlock it, just simply press and hold on the side switch again till you get to your moonlight, and you're good to go. Super simple, super easy. Now, on that proximity sensor override, when it locks down your output, so let's go ahead and go straight to turbo, it locks it down, double click to override. And now I can burn the hell out of myself. Not that I really want to, but I can. Now, next time I go to use the light, it's going to have that feature turned back on for me. See? So you always got that safety net. You have to manually turn that off. Now, as far as your modes go, your moonlight is the perfect 1 lumen. That is still my favorite. Low is 15 lumens. Medium is 200 lumens, which is pretty useful indoors. High is my favorite medium to high, 650 lumens. I find that I could do 90% of everything that I need to do indoors or out with 650 lumens. And the turbo, again, is 1850. Now, I remember, fuzzily, but I remember that the original Warrior 3S in aluminum had a higher lumen count, more powerful. And I'm not sure why they went lower on the more expensive premium, except maybe what I'm feeling right now when I hold the head of this, titanium doesn't disperse the heat like aluminum does. It gets really hot really fast. So maybe they had to crank down the power a little bit because they were going into titanium, and that would make sense. But that's just purely my guess. Don't take my word for it because I truly, honestly do not know. Now, they're claiming you get 16,500 candela on turbo, and that's equal to 270 meters of throw. Now, I think that's great for a handheld pocket light. Even though it is a big 21-700, I have 18-650 lights that'll do that. I even have one that's a 14-500, a little AA size light that'll do that. But that's an LEP, not an LED. So that's an entirely different thing. So I probably shouldn't have brought it up. Duh. But I think that's a really good amount of throw for something that you're carrying around in your pocket that doesn't have a big, giant 2-inch in diameter bezel with a super deep dish reflector on a single LED. This is a good all-purpose light that'll kind of do everything for you. So that's probably my favorite thing about this light. You get a good amount of throw, and you've got an absolutely gorgeous beam pattern that lights up everything in your path close up so that you have something usable at all times. As a matter of fact, I want to show you a quick indoor studio beam light session here before we get outside so that you can see uninterrupted what that beam pattern looks like before we get out in the dark. Okay, very quickly we'll look at it downwards so that you could see the spread on here, and then in a couple of seconds I'll show it to you on the whiteboard that I always have here in front of me. So let's just go ahead and start here. Lay this down. So moonlight, there's your low, there's your medium. That's where you start to see some intensity. Sorry, that was high. Turbo. And you see what a useful spread of light you have in this spill. You have a nice amount of spill close up. So if you are out walking the dog or you're walking through your backyard, if your backyard is like mine, I live right off the water. I've got woods behind me. That means snakes and all kinds of other unsavory animals out there. Not that snakes are unsavory. I have a pet snake. I absolutely love her. But you know what I mean. You don't want to go stepping on a rattlesnake, which we do get in our yard here. And this gives me all the light that I need around me. Even though it's throwing well at a distance, it kind of does it all. Woo, she's warm. Now let's bring her down and see what happens here. Now, go straight to turbo. Oh, that's overwhelming. So there's our moonlight, and there's our low. Pull back a little bit, and you can see that that hot spot gets nice and wide. And the spill is definitely a lot softer coming off of it, and still very, very useful. Now let's take her outside and see how she performs. Get ready for some insanity. This thing is nuts. We're gonna start off going
In the still of the cold dark night, seasons changing, clouds blocking the pale moonlight. I reach for my torch, my pocket light, flick it on, ready to wield its power shining bright. As a collector I know I need my collection to grow. More and more lights, it's an obsession. Gotta have more for possession. Some for looks, some for that incredible glow. High performance, all of the lumens. Give me the power of candela to solve the darkness dilemma and make the darkness run away. I go out of my way, finding lights every day. Always a hopping online, finding more to make mine. Watching my money drain away. All the niche emitters and sounds, some for beginners. From warm blue to intense bright and white. How many do I need? Enough to completely dominate the night. I go out of my way, finding lights every day. Always a hopping online, finding more to make mine. And watching my money drain
So wrapping things up, my overall judgment on this light is it really is fantastic quality. It gives you a good degree of performance. It's not the most powerful light you're ever going to have at this price. It's not the most amount of throw. It's not the most of anything. What it is something very satisfying in an easily carryable package. Beautiful coloration, a flawless finish. They do a very, very, very good job with their finishing as always. I've never found any machining errors, any tool marks, anything like that, and their finish is always beautiful. The one thing, and you'll see right here, is if you take the clip off to reorient it, you're gonna scratch up that finish. So you need to already know which way you like to carry your lights and install the clip in that orientation and leave it there. Don't change it. You're going to screw it up for life. And that's pretty much it. So the Warrior 3S, whether you get the aluminum or you splurge and spoil yourself with the titanium version, I honestly think it's a light that you should seek out if you like a 21-700 size light. Performance is great. It looks great. This is a conversation piece. But again, I haven't made it up to things that have the same kind of vibrant colorways here. And all of these are conversation pieces. Because people look at it and go, I've never seen a flashlight in colored like that. I've never seen knives or a pistol or a holster that are colored like that. What is going on here? Now, while I didn't custom design this, I did custom design this and where all the colors went on each and every piece and part of it. This, which was just a fantastic opportunity. This was the Mech Force and Alpha Hunter design collaboration called the Apocalypse. I have a review of this on my main channel, and I believe also on my A to Z EDC channel, if I'm not mistaken. That's a possibility. And man, this thing is just friggin' fantastic. And then, of course, the only slip joints that I will ever probably carry, the only ones I've ever been interested in, Jack Wolf knives. This is the Midnight Jack, the second release, where they did what they call the chaotic resin. Very slick, very cool. And then Charles Rivera over at River Arms Holsters is who made this holster for me. Extremely talented dude. Even took on a project for one of my other guns that people generally don't carry because it's such a beast. So he didn't have a mold for it, and he busted his butt making these holsters for me. And a big thank you to him. Obviously, nobody is sponsoring this video. This is all stuff that I have in my personal collection. I do, at times, do reviews in partnership with Olight where they'll send me a light to review. This was not one of those cases. But that's it. That's my full transparency and my thoughts on this light. I do absolutely love it. I think it's fantastic. It is not the greatest thing since sliced bread, but it's really super awesome. And I think if you come across one and you're interested in it, you should definitely add it to your collection. Thank you guys for watching as always, and I'll see you on the next video.